Hey, Token Female here, and before I start this off, I want it to be known that I had the idea for this video before Joe did. So, just because he posted it first does not mean he thought of it first. That's the last time I ask you for your opinion on a video topic, Joe. Anyway, let's just get to the stupidity.
Would you date someone who's trans? Would you date someone who's black? Would you date someone who's fat? Would you date someone who's disabled? Now,
No, I've actually had major crushes on a few black guys, so that answer is yes. Though black isn't the only different race from white, so that's pretty racist of you saying anyway. Depends on how fat they are. I mean, if they're sickening fat, then no. But if they're 50 to 75 pounds overweight, maybe. And again, it depends on the disability. I'm disabled and that disability hinders me a lot. So, like, it wouldn't do me well to date somebody who has Down syndrome. But I would, in fact, date a deaf dude. I know American Sign Language, and I can say that there are really hot deaf guys.
honestly, I don't know what your answer is to those questions, but I've met a surprising number of people who would say no to all or at least some of them. Their argument is that it's just a preference and that you can't control who you're attracted to.
Well, you can't. Or at least I can't. I've been attracted to a bunch of different guys, though that doesn't mean that I have dated or would have dated any of them. You can be attracted to someone without wanting to bang them.
I think most of the time that this is brought up, it's in regards to race. I'll link to a couple really good videos in the description about racial dating preferences, but in this video, I want to talk about our other biases. Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person, honestly? Think about it for a second. Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying
I've thought for the second, and my answer is still nope.
Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're a horrible person who hates trans people. There was probably a time in my life when I said I wouldn't date a trans person. But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind. I could sit here and show you photos of convention.
I have this really strange feeling that you're going to take the rest of this video and talk about how I'm a horrible person and that you are now above what makes me horrible, which makes you a better person than I am.
But since then, I've thought critically about it and changed my mind. I could sit here and show you photos of conventionally attractive trans people. There are definitely trans people who you would never know are trans unless they told you, because they pass for cis.
Okay, I actually have a few trans friends, some male to female and others female to male. I can honestly say that there are a few female to male trans people that I do find cute, but after looking, you can usually tell if somebody is trans or not.
And that might convince some of you, but I think arguing that you would only like a trans person if you didn't know they were trans is a poor argument. I think you could be attracted to any trans person, whether they pass or not. I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect. Because we associate penises with men and vaginas with women, some people think they could never date a trans man with a vagina or a trans woman with a penis.
So I just got done talking to my best friend. She is a male to female trans person, and I asked her if she would date a trans person. She, a trans woman like yourself, Riley, said that she already has one too many dicks, so why should she add another?
But I think that people are more than their genitals. I think that you could feel attraction to someone without knowing what's between their legs. And if you were to say that you're only attracted to people with vaginas or people with penises, it really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects. So I guess you're kind of genitalifying them?
Again, you can feel an attraction to someone but not want to date them. I can find my female to male friend cute, but that doesn't mean I want to screw them. So if I'm reducing someone to their genitals by wanting a born male dude, then I am so objectifying every guy I date. And I am okay with that.
Anyway, my point is, we have implicit biases that we were raised with or that we developed over time, and they can be hard to get rid of. And I think this can be especially prominent within the queer community. Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises. It's difficult because some queer people have built their sexual identities on these repulsions, but I don't think they're innate at all. If you met someone who was extremely attractive, had a great personality, but didn't have the genitals that you wanted, you might be surprised to find that it isn't a deal breaker. As someone who is trans and gay, sometimes people ask me with a very accusatory tone if I would date a girl with a penis. Because there's this stereotype that trans lesbians are just predatory cis men creeping on cis women. But the thing is, I absolutely could be attracted to a woman with a penis. I could be attracted to any woman, cis or trans. If I find you attractive, I don't care what you have down there.
That's probably because you don't want offspring, and you can't make somebody feel bad if they do. If I want biological offspring from both me and my partner, I'll have to marry someone with a penis. And again, you can be attracted to somebody without wanting to date them.
But we know that sexual orientations are more innate than learned. They're more nature and less nurture. Gay conversion therapy has been proven not to work, but you can unlearn your own prejudices. It just takes time and conscious effort. And the way that we talk about potentially dating trans people has a lot in common with the way we discuss other preferences. Saying that you're not attracted to fat people isn't innate. It's informed by a society that tells you that being thin is ideal. Everything in the media you consume is bombarding you with messages that skinny is beautiful and fat is ugly. And even the nicest of people absorb these messages to some degree. But again, if you find someone attractive and really enjoy spending time with them, there's no reason why their weight should be a factor. Especially since we know that the relationship between weight and health is extremely complex, and you really can't make any moral judgments on a person based on their weight.
Hold on, Riley. Listening through the whole clip, do you realize how dumb you sound? Conversion therapy doesn't work. And then you go right on to talk about stuff that is like conversion therapy. You see, people who believe in conversion therapy think that being gay is something that you can just shock out of people. That if you do this and that, you'll no longer be gay. But we all know that isn't true. Yet you sit here and start talking about how we need to just stop being attracted to whatever we're attracted to so we can be attracted to something else. That is exactly what people think conversion therapy is. I really shouldn't be as shocked as I am to hear you say this. Also, with the weight thing, the heavier you are, the more likely you are to die young. So, for somebody like me who literally needs somebody to take care of them, it wouldn't be logical for me to be with somebody who's extremely overweight, because then there wouldn't be anyone to help me when I need it.
And lastly, let's talk about disabled people. Disabilities come in a very wide range, from being deaf to being in a wheelchair to only having one arm, and I think it's pretty ridiculous to say that you couldn't be attracted to any person who has any of those disabilities. Disabilities can happen to anyone. Someone you're extremely attracted to today could become disabled tomorrow, and that shouldn't make your attraction to them disappear.
I have a genetic skin disorder, and I don't feel entitled to have someone date me. I mean, if somebody finds me attractive, finds out about my illness, and then decides that they can't handle it, it's fine. That's actually them being mature and admitting that they can't handle that kind of lifestyle. Instead of trying to force themselves to be okay with it, making the relationship last longer, and then ultimately hurting both of us emotionally more than it would have if they had just been honest from the start. And for things like car wrecks that make the disability take hold, it's not like the person is just going to magically stop loving that person. It's usually because they can't handle the stress of having somebody with a disability. And you shouldn't make somebody feel like they are trapped and that they have to love somebody with a disability. It's just cruel to both parties involved.
Though if it does, it might not be because of them, but rather because you have some preconceived ideas about disabled people that are just inaccurate and harmful. Unsurprisingly, this is another case of the media telling you that a certain group isn't attractive. Disabled people are rarely romantic leads. Their stories in movies and TV shows are often tragic, but that doesn't reflect the reality that disabled people can be happy and have dating lives and be attractive.
Actually, those movies are more realistic. The majority of disabled people do live tragic lives, but we force ourselves to be happy and make the best out of every situation. So we can have dating lives, we can go to parties, but it's not like we're going to be a normal person. It might end up with us getting hurt or getting sick because we pushed our bodies to the limit. That doesn't mean we're unlovable. It just means that people need to be made aware of the reality of dating somebody with a disability.
Now, if you're not attracted to someone, you're not attracted to them. I'm not going to tell you that you have to be attracted to this fat person or that trans person or that disabled person.
Really? Are you sure about that? Because that's what it sounds like to me.
But the more you work at unlearning your own prejudices, the more you'll be able to see people from these groups as people rather than tired stereotypes. Unlearning our own biases doesn't happen overnight, and I don't have a step-by-step instruction guide for you. But I think if you can accept that these prejudices exist in all of us, even you can identify them when they come up and work to change how you think about them. It will most likely be a long, slow process, but I think it's worth it. Because these dating preferences are ultimately harmful to people who don't fit into your box of what a conventionally attractive person looks like. It makes people feel isolated, alone, and unwanted to hear that they're universally unattractive to people. I don't think there's anyone out there who somebody doesn't find attractive. We're sold this image of the conventionally attractive person, but in reality, all kinds of people around the world are constantly dating, having sex, finding people attractive, getting married. It's not only the conventionally attractive who find love or have sex. So by working on ourselves to dispel that idea, we can make the world a more welcoming and loving place for everybody, no matter how they look.
This really sounds like a "you're a horrible person if you don't date me" type video, which I find extremely annoying. I don't really think that I can say much more about this video that I haven't already. It's not as simple as Riley makes it out to be. Nothing dealing with humans is ever simple. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the disabled token female. Have a non conversion therapy day, everyone.